Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. We've got another of our In the News segments for you, and I'm going to get right into the first company here that I want to talk about, which is ArizonaSilver. They had news out earlier today. The headline from that news is ArizonaSilver drills 102-meter mineralized interval below deepest previous hole on the Philadelphia Gold Project in Arizona. This is an epithermal gold silver project in Arizona. And they say that the drill was designed to test the down dip and easterly extension of vein and stockwork mineralization intersected some 30 meters away in the deepest previous hole. They talk about 102 meters at 0.716 grams per ton gold and 4.56 silver from 182.3 meters to 284.45. At the top of that intersection, they hit a high-grade intersection of 3.2 meters of 6.2 grams per ton of gold. Deeper in the hole, they hit a meter of 4.04 grams per ton gold, and down the hole towards the bottom, 6.49 meters of 1.91 grams per ton of gold. And I would also highlight that they talk about these intervals being in the brecciated vein. Okay, so why that's so important is that when you're in the brecciated vein part of an epithermal vein system, you are still above the boiling zone of that epithermal vein. And what is also important to point out is that brecciation is broken up rock. And then in that broken up rock, you get pieces of quartz, which contains the gold in it. And you can think of it sort of like a polka dot dress, if you will. The polka dots, think about a black and white polka dotted dress. The black parts are the certain polka dots are where you have your quartz, and then the rest is the brecciated rock that quartz made its way into. Now, when they assay this stuff, they cut that core, and so you're going to have only a small percentage of it is the actual quartz veins with the gold in it. And then they take for assaying, they take a small portion of that and they assay it. So what you have to realize is in the brecciated part of the vein, you're getting a lot of dilution of the matrix rock that's around those that quartz veins. And what really blows me away is that in the brecciated portion of the vein, so you're still above the boiling zone, they're getting anywhere from high grade to bonanza grades of gold in that brecciated part of the vein. And even further, if you wanted to get even a more representative sample, you could do what's called metallic screening of that material, which is much more representative because they take that half core and then they crush that all up and then they put it through these screens that will grab the gold. You've got a bigger sample and it's more representative, but nonetheless, in this brecciated part of the vein, you're already getting high grade to bonanza grade gold mineralization in what I would consider is diluted parts of the vein. Now, for me, the big story is getting deeper into this system and finding the solid quartz part of the vein. And what really has me excited, and I'm going to make a pretty big statement here, and I don't make it lightly, is that projects like the Hishikari epithermal vein in Japan don't come along very often, maybe once every 50 years or so. And based on what I'm seeing with this high grade to bonanza grades of gold in the brecciated part of the vein, suggests to me that they could be looking at something like a Hishikari. When you're getting that that high grade into the what would be diluted parts of an epithermal vein system, it's suggestive of a very long-lived and powerful gold mineralizing system. And that's exactly what I think that they have. Now, I'm not saying that they have another Hishikari, but what I am saying is that they have that kind of potential. Now, we'll know more about that as they get into the more consistent, as they get deeper and they get into the more consistent quartz, because then you don't have the brecciation part and you're into just pure quartz. Here they have the distribution of the gold. As you go down, you can see excellent grades in the brecciated part of that quartz vein, which is very exciting to me. There's a couple ways you can look at this project. One is that they have drilled a lot of gold near surface that could be what you could look at as an open pit type scenario. They have evidence that there could be a big one, a significant size to this system, because there is what's called Red Hill, is right above where they're finding all this gold. And this is Red Hill is a big alteration zone. So there is size potential. It still remains to be seen, but I think the real prize for this project is to get deeper into the system and get into that more competent quartz veins of an epithermal vein system. And what I think you'll see as they get down into there is that, first of all, I would highly recommend they do metallic screening, because that's a more representative grade profile for the veins. I think that there's a potential that they, and this is the geological model, that they can pinch and swell. As you get closer to the heat engine that caused the mineralization, you're going to get better and better grades. And then if you get into the more competent quartz, you're not going to get this dilution in the brecciated vein part of the system. But the bottom line for me is that, projects that you can honestly compare to the potential of a Hishikari are few and far between, but they do occur. You look at something like a Las Chispas mine in Mexico. It's an epithermal vein that they're now in their first quarter of commercial production. They're producing silver at an average cost of 11, all-in sustaining cost of $11.45 an ounce of silver, and they're selling that for over 20. So it's making a lot of money. They're paying down debt, and they're building up their cash position. That's the nature of what happens when you find an epithermal vein system that can be a mine. Another example is Mag Silver in near Fresnillo, Mexico. They found an epithermal vein system there, and they've got a cash machine as well that's now going into full commercial production. So when you find the right kind of epithermal vein, they can be cash machines of mines, and I think that that's what these guys have the potential of finding. I'm seeing grades that you really shouldn't be seeing that far above the boiling zone. When they get into that boiling zone, or some call it the bonanza grade zone of an epithermal vein system, they can be spectacular. And I think that they've got that kind of potential at their Philadelphia epithermal gold silver project. And I also think that they have the potential to find more blind veins. They've already found one, and I think that they could find more, because these vein systems tend to occur in clusters. So where you find one, you often find many. And so they've got a lot of potential at this project. I think that it's not well recognized, the realistic potential of this epithermal vein system, and I'm looking forward to them getting deeper, which they're doing right now as we speak, with a deeper drill hole. And I think when they get down there deeper, they're going to hit the more competent quartz where the vein is closer to the boiling zone. It's an exciting project for me, and I'm glad to have ArizonaSilver on as a sponsor of my shows and reports, and so I can put out a lot of content about them. I've done interviews with their management. You can find that at my YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News, or also on my Substack at rocksandstocks.substack.com. Okay, another sponsor of the reports is Golden Lake Exploration, and they had news out today that Golden Lake, i-80 Gold, and North Peak commenced collaborative drone magnetic survey on their respective properties in the South Eureka Gold Belt. This belt is very exciting to me. It has a historical production in CRD's carbonate replacement deposits that happened around the 1860s to 1960s, and then things started to switch in Nevada, where CRDs weren't that interesting, and they were moving more towards these open pit, low grade but open pit, high tonnage deposits. And then i-80 Gold made an important discovery of their at their project just to the north of Golden Lake and North Peak, called the Ruby Deeps, and it hit thick intersections of high-grade gold to the west of the old open pit called Archimedes. And then they last year around November, they started reporting on this bonanza grade CRD that they hit to the south of that old pit. They hit high grades of silver, lead, zinc, which is your common metals in a CRD, and it also had an overprint of high grade gold in it as well. So, you know, this area had you know, signs that you're looking at over 1,000 to even over 5,000 per ton of the metal values in that core, which makes it some of the best numbers, not only in Nevada, but all of the world. And so i-80 Gold had all this success, and then right to their immediate south was the name is Paycore. And Paycore, then they made, they were around the same time that i-80 was announcing their success on their Bonanza CRD. Paycore also hit a Bonanza CRD with the same kind of a situation, high-grade silver, lead, zinc, as well as an overprint of high-grade gold. And very similar looking numbers to i-80 Gold's Bonanza CRD. So then i-80 Gold bought out Paycore. It was a very good pick for my reports. They were a sponsor, as is i-80 Gold and Golden Lake were sponsors of my reports. And so Paycore, i-80 Gold consolidated all this ground. The boundary of their old claims was about here, but then they took over the Paycore, and that includes this FAD shaft, this stuff, all the way down to where Golden Lake is right here, and North Peak is right here, and Timberline is over here. Now, what's interesting is that the recipe for success in this area was to go where there was historical mining, and you have these a network of faulting, which are your conduits for the metals bearing fluids to make their way up and create near surface deposits. And then they had the right kind of rocks, the right kind of structure, and they found their hilltop, which is right here. But as you can see, that faulting system continues, And here's the Jackson Fault that cuts right by the old FAD mine shaft. And here's where the FAD deposit is, and was the main reason for the takeover of Paycore by i-80 Gold. But then you look to, there's some historical holes to the north of that FAD deposit that suggests that that CRD is part of a bigger system. And up in here, you've got this big geophysical anomaly. So I think that what you have here and what you have here are similar, probably from a similar or the same heat engine that created this mineralization. So then you keep following it down and you get into this area. As you can see, there is the same kind of faulting, the same that goes through both North Peak and Paycore. As you can see, these are all historical mines. So there was a lot of historical mining, and also over here, there's a big network on North Peak of historical mining. So they have all of the same characteristics, geological characteristics, as what led to the i-80 Gold success, the Paycore success that got i-80 to buy out Paycore, and then to the immediate south, you've got Golden Lake and North Peak. And so they're doing this high resolution drone magnetic survey that will cover all of i-80 and Paycore and Golden Lake. This, I think, is one of the most important camps in all of Nevada, with that exceptional high grade that they're finding in these CRDs at i-80 Golds and Paycores, and all the evidence from historical mining, the faulting network, the right kind of rocks, that Paycore, or Golden Lake and North Peak have excellent potential in this area as well, as does Timberline. There was a lot of historical mining over here on their New York Canyon project, and there is a network of faulting that goes through here, and they've done some surface sampling and getting the same kind of grades as what you're seeing, showing the potential of what they have as well. So this immediate area from i-80 Gold, what used to be Paycore and is now i-80 Gold, Timberline, Golden Lake, and North Peak are in a exceptional part of Nevada that I'm very excited about. It's already turned out to be a great pick for me when I picked i-80 Paycore. They were a sponsor, and as is i-80 Gold. And yeah, we've had one takeout from the camp. I think you've got a future mine in this area, maybe a couple of world-class mines in the Ruby Deeps, high-grade underground bulk tonnage type target at Ruby Deeps. And then you've got this network of CRDs, and also down here, and lots of evidence that there should be more down in here. So I'm really excited about what Golden Lake talked about with this joint Golden Lake, i-80 Gold, and North Peak collaborative magnetic survey to cover this whole region. So there you go. That's the Golden Lake news. Now we're going to move on to VR Resources. VR Resources has a very exciting project that they're drilling for kimberlite pipes that are potential diamond discoveries. Now, the diamond exploration sector, I used to follow it in my Allan Berry report on Canadian diamond exploration. Back then, there were hundreds of companies that were involved in diamond exploration in Canada. But then it kind of waned. There wasn't a lot of new success. And now there's only a handful of diamond explorers in Canada. And VR Resources has a very exciting play because they staked a bunch of geophysical anomalies that are very large. And the first one that they drilled is Northway. As they note here, it's a 900 to 1200 meters across. So this is a monster of an anomaly. And then they drilled into it with the first hole clipped the edge of the anomaly and mainly had only fine grained kimberlite. Then their second hole was put in at a different angle into the kimberlite pipe, and they hit more fine grain, but then they got into more coarse grain kimberlite as well. I don't know how much coarse kimberlite they have, and it's at the top of the pipe. So, in diamond exploration, it's very important to get representative size samples of the kimberlite, because you have to remember that in a high grade, let's say you've got a 1 carat per ton system, that carat in a ton is only 0.2 of a gram for a 1 carat deposit. So think of having a ton of rock and in it is 0.2 of a gram. The chances are of hitting that is challenging. And so the bigger the sample you can take, the more representative it is of the diamond grade. So I don't know how much of that they didn't announce how much of that coarse kimberlite they got into. So now they announced that they're doing a third hole, and this third hole is designed to get into that kimberlite more significantly. Now, when kimberlites are created, they often have several phases to that kimberlite. And you need to understand the mineral chemistry of those, because in a kimberlite, the diamond indicator minerals are much more abundant. So you're more likely to hit those indicator minerals. Now, what's important about those indicator minerals is you can look at the chemical composition of those indicator minerals. And there are a certain group of unique indicator minerals that are known to grow in the part of the upper mantle where diamond, you have a fertile portion of the diamond stability field. And and the way they know that is sometimes the indicator minerals will be inside of a diamond or on the outside of a diamond. Then they can test the chemical composition of those indicator minerals, which then gives you an idea of where you are in the diamond stability field. And so a kimberlite will come up. It's a volcanic event. It'll break through. They break through the Earth's crust at a very rapid pace and very violent. So the first phase will create a path of least resistance. Then you have subsequent additional phases. And these kind of big kimberlite pipes will have multiple phases in them. And so getting a good cross section of the pipe gives you an idea of the different phases. It also gives you an idea of the mineral chemistry, so you can get an idea of the diamond potential. And then you'll also, if you get a big enough sample in the right phase, you'll get enough diamonds that you can start to show the micro diamonds and hopefully macro diamond distribution curve. So all of these, the diamonds are a very statistical analysis kind of thing. And using the diamond indicator minerals and the diamonds themselves from a representative sample is very important. And so the third hole is planned to get a big portion into that kimberlite pipe and sort of get a cross section so you can analyze whether you've got different phases. I'm very excited to see that coarse kimberlite at the top of the system, because A coarse kimberlite gives you an idea of the carrying capacity of that kimberlite to carry diamonds and in indicator minerals. Now, indicator minerals aren't sexy to a lot of people, but they are very important to understanding the diamond potential of a kimberlite pipe. You know, there's a famous story of Lucara, and I know the geologist that sort of figured out that story. His name is John Armstrong, and John understands these diamond distribution curves very well, and he also understands mineral chemical compositions and trends very well. So he did his homework, and they sent him over there to Botswana. And he was looking at his diamond distribution curves and the mineral chemistry, and he thought that there should be big diamonds in that pipe. What happened was he was searching around in the tailings or the waste from the production, and he found a big diamond. So this proved his theory to himself, and then they looked at the way that they were processing the kimberlite and figured out that they were probably breaking the big stones. So they changed some of the methods to how they sampled that or processed that kimberlite, and all of a sudden the big diamonds were surviving, and it was. And it's a very incredible production. Some of I think the second largest diamond ever found comes from that deposit. So, you know, De Beers had been in there and failed, and Lucara was having troubles, but then John broke the code, if you will, and the rest is history for that mine. So, you know, this tells you how important diamond indicator mineral chemistry is, as well as the diamonds themselves. Again, diamonds are very small. 0.2 of a gram is a carat. And so your diamond indicator minerals at the early stages are going to give you a better idea of the diamond potential than the diamonds themselves. So what I'm very excited about is that they're going to get a nice thick intersection into that kimberlite pipe. I hope they use some nice thick core and keep that thick core going all the way through, because you really want to acquire as much kimberlite as you can, the biggest sample possible. And this helps you get a more representative idea of the diamond potential. Now, what makes this exciting is I've not seen the chemical compositions of the indicator minerals yet. I'm looking forward to that. But this is in an area not too far from the Victor kimberlite. And what made Victor quite unique is that it had no G10 garnets. It had very good G9 garnets and eclogitic garnets. And it had a low grade, only about 1/4 of a carat per ton, but the diamonds were spectacular, clear, and the run of mine, almost all the diamonds were clear and beautiful looking stones, so they carried a very high value. And I think that there's a similar kind of story developing here at this Northway kimberlite, because they have shown core pictures, and you can see eclogitic garnets in there that look like they could have very good chemical composition. Those that are known to be as inclusions or attached to diamonds. And so, you know, if they have something that is as big as Northway shows it can be, with diamonds that are anything like what was found at Victor, this will be it already is on the radar screen of many diamond experts. I'm fortunate to know quite a few of them because I spent 25 years in diamond exploration. And in fact, they have one of the smartest guys I know when it comes to diamonds involved with the company, which is Kevin Keevy. And he had a lot of his experience at the Diavik diamond mine, finding a lot of kimberlites there. And yeah, as far as risk reward goes, sky's the limit. If they find that this huge kimberlite is full of high quality diamonds, kitty bar the door, because every major mining company involved in diamonds will be looking at them, all kinds of investors. They've already started quite a storm in the back offices of the diamond experts that I talk to, because I've talked to a bunch of my friends that are some of those diamond experts about this project. It's a very exciting diamond project. I love diamond exploration, and I think that they've got something very exciting here. So stay tuned for more news from their current hole that they are drilling right now. All right, Orogen Royalties is the only royalty company I follow. They acquired the Frenzy Gold silver project in Nevada. It's an epithermal vein system. It's had look at some of these grades: 9.3 grams of gold, 1,200 grams of silver, 44 grams of gold, 534 grams of silver. What makes Orogen Royalties very unique is they're a prospect generator. They're a combination of a prospect generator and a royalty company. So what they do is they go out there and they find the projects and then find partners for those projects and keep a royalty. They've successfully done this with First Majestic in Mexico on First Majestic's Ermitaño mine. Ermitaño is one of the best performing mines that First Majestic has. And Orogen's the one who generated that project, and they retain a 2% royalty on that project. And so it's free cash flowing, sending them a bunch of money every month. And now they've got new projects, and they do this on a regular basis. Another place that they're having a lot of success is their silicon project in Nevada that is optioned to Anglo, and Orogen owns a 1% royalty on that. The Anglo has announced their maiden resource was over 3 million ounces of gold. It's an oxide gold system. It looks very exciting. Looks like it could be a 10 million ton or 10 million ounce plus type situation. Orogen owns a 1% royalty on that, and I believe it's going to be a future mine that sends them a bunch of cash. And then they've got a whole portfolio of other projects that are in a similar situation. They went out, were project generators. They generated the projects, they partnered them out, and they own royalties in them. So this is a new acquisition for a royalty company that I think very highly of. Do your homework on them, and that's why I like what I see about Orogen. Summa Silver is they were a short-term sponsor of my reports. They are no longer, but I'm a big fan of two projects that they have. One is in New Mexico, and I've recently realized that I was kind of butchering the name of the project, so I won't bother doing it. I'm just going to call it the New Mexico project. They announced that they acquired, almost doubled their land position in the district. And here's a quote from Galen McNamara. He stated, and I quote, "Given our strong belief that the Mogollon, or Mogollon, I don't know how to say it, project could be one of the great precious metal rich vein fields left remaining in the United States. Increasing the size of the project largely through inexpensive claim staking was a key step for us. To the north, new veins and vein extensions have already been identified that are marked by the presence of historic prospect pits, portals, and shafts. These historic workings have long been forgotten and are likely well over a century old. To the south at the historic Deadwood mine, the company has acquired historic data showing zones of strong mineralization in the old mine workings that we are currently digitizing. So here was the original ground, and now they pretty much doubled it in the same kind of rock packages, same kind of structural story. Here's the old mining operations. Here's all the bonanza grade hits that they've made, still wide open at a long strike and at depth. Very exciting project, but that's not their only exciting project, because they're currently drilling on their Tonopah mining district project called the Hughes Project near Tonopah. This was a place of significant historical mining, right basically under the town of Tonopah. That's why it was built there. BlackRock Silver, who is a sponsor of my reports, is to the west side, and these guys are to the east side. They've had a lot of success finding high-grade gold and silver on this project. And now here's the cluster, and it's in association to a significant geophysical area, chargeability high, resistivity high, and that's where they're focusing their drilling, is to understand that more. Here you see sort of a breccia unit where you've got broken up rock with the epithermal vein coming up into it. This would indicate that you're still above the boiling zone of the emerald target, but keep following it. You should get into that primary quartz vein. And so they've got two great projects. They're going to be generating a lot of news. I like both of their projects a lot because I'm a junkie for that high grade gold and silver, and that's what they found at both of their projects, from high grade to bonanza grades at both projects. So right now they're drilling in Nevada, then they're going to get back to drilling in New Mexico, then they're going to have news out from the drilling in Nevada, then they're going to have news out from the drilling in New Mexico. So yeah, great junior exploration company. They do a lot of really good work. I'm very optimistic about what they're gonna have success at both Tonopah, Nevada, and in New Mexico. So stay tuned for more news from that company as well. Alrighty, as I said, had some great stuff to talk about today. So the show went a little longer than I anticipated, but I'll in the description below, I'll show you where the various different companies are, and make things easier for viewers that want to just look into the specific companies. As always, my shows are for information purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not making investment decision or recommendations to buy or sell. I'm merely trying to pinpoint what, based on my 30 years of exploration experience, is telling you about the companies that I follow. And so it's important for you to speak with your financial advisors and do your homework on these companies. And that due diligence is really important. I just sort of think I can be a launch to your due diligence process. On that note, have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.